All right. Just what I thought we was gonna be starting clean. All right, there. All right, that's better. We are starting on time, thankfully, which is good because like I said it's gonna be a meat and potato show. A lot of straight up stuff here today, and our guest gonna be I guess riding with us for the entire show. We got him right here on at the beginning, Mr. Joe Tanksley, and appreciate you coming on with us, man. I know he was had a busy afternoon,
Yeah,
but
we made it though. We made it.
yeah, we all made it, man. I don't know. It's just been one of them annoying days for me, man. This is
It's Monday.
yeah. Well, that's the thing about the show. We try to make Mondays a little better by doing the show, but sometimes it's hard, man. And now you got like it's dark for 2 hours before we do the show, and we got snow coming down now.
Yeah,
It's
we
like
need to end that. I don't understand. I mean, right? Like, how many people are farming like that? Like, it really matters. I don't know. I think we just.
it, it don't do nothing but mess up your sleep, man. That's all it do.
hmm
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's getting this was one of those real Mondays, but like I said, we made it, and you know, I give y'all a little bit of what y'all looking for here on this next hour. So probably won't even be an hour. Well, but we you know we got some good stuff to talk about for the most part, and
Indeed.
we gonna just hang out for a bit. Drew, how things going with you, man?
Everything's pretty good, man. Just like you said, it's kind of the Mondayest of Mondays, man.
Monday or somebody.
But yeah, to you guys' point, I don't know, man. The productivity, man. It's like you got to fight the good fight in these times, man. When the sun goes down so early and it's so dark, and you just want to go home. So yeah, man. I'm trying to
Right,
stay in it, dig my heels in. Just
right,
get
yeah, and that's the thing. Like with the origins of the daylight savings time and stuff. Like you talking about with the farmers, that's those people would start their day when the sun come up. So they'd start at like 5, 6 in the morning. Well, that's for us. We starting. You told me today when you start work, that's early. That's like 8:30 or something. You said like this.
yeah.
That's real early for me. I'll start working till about noon, man. That's damn near too early for me. But it, let's say when you start your day at that point, you know, and it's dark at 4, it's like your day just started, but then it's ending. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's hard to get going, but yeah,
hmm
it's how it is, man. But let's I don't know. Let's talk about some stuff that we can't control. That we can't control. That's a little bit more enjoyable. Uh, let's start off. Let's start off with the Bulls. I got Joe on to talk some football in a minute, but the Bulls doing pretty good now. They had a rough go of it on Friday, but it came back on Sunday with a nice win against the Clippers, and they back at it tonight against the Lakers. I don't know, Drew. I'll start with you, man. What were your thoughts about how the weekend went and how things are going to be coming, going today with the return of AC and Lonzo in LA.
I mean, considering that they're playing without their third best player, someone who DeMar DeRozan called the best player on the team, and Nikola Vucevic, I think they're doing all right to be 1-1. I was hoping for a better performance against Golden State, but that being the first game that they played without Vucevic and trying to get some things kind of ironed out in how they want to play without pretty much the hub of their half court offense, I guess it's somewhat to be expected. Golden State is a hell of a team, and it wasn't that I was low on Golden State, but people were talking about, I think they might be in title contention. I was like, y'all got to pump your brakes a little bit. Clay is not coming back to later on in the season. We don't know how he's going to look. They made some additions, but are they really going to be that vital to what they're doing? But man, they look pretty damn good, man. Both sides of the ball, and Steph once again right back in the thick of that early season MVP conversation. So, I can't get too down about the outcome of that game on Friday. Good to see them bounce back yesterday with a win against a team that had won 7 straight, with an MVP candidate in their own right in Paul George. Caruso, crazy defense against Paul George. Lonzo Ball helped out when he switched out onto him as well. Hopefully they can pick up another win against the Lakers because it's not going to get any easier from here. But can't be mad at the start to the season in general and just the West Coast trip specifically.
Yeah, and I think it was important that they got back on the horse and got them a win yesterday. And this seems like a team that, unlike other recent Bulls teams, they don't get down on themselves when they have a setback. They get right back on it and they play the game like they know how to play. Like yesterday was, I mentioned on Twitter, like I thought it was very much playoff like in the way that the game sort of was boiled down to each half court possession. And both teams played active defense. They were handsy, occupying passing lanes and stuff, really getting at the ball. And both teams had to work to get their scoring chances and make good on them. And the Bulls did what they needed to do every time, just about. And the Clippers made good efforts to get back in the game. They got a lead, sort of late on that crazy shot that Paul George made, when he fell down. But even when that happened, the Bulls they never seemed to panic, and they kept playing the way that they knew how to play. And by the end, they were able to sort of not, they didn't really coast out, but they had enough space where they were able to make plays and just keep running the offense the way that they wanted to. Zach put up that crazy shot, late in the game, and that's just the type of shot that I think a player like him makes to make a statement. Like, look, you're not going to guard me at this point. I'm ready to take this one home, and he did it. They took, he got the shot down. They got the win, and they're able to hang out in LA for a day, with a good energy about them and coming into this next game tonight. So, yeah, it's good that the Bulls at least split these first 2 games, because I think after tonight, there's a chance that they can reel off possibly the last 3 games of the trip. Because Portland still has some issues, and Denver is going to be tough. But I think if the Bulls can win 2 out of 3 in these first 3 games, especially given the way that Golden State has played and that the Clippers have played, there's a reason to feel pretty confident that they can actually have a winning record coming out of this West Coast trip. And for them to have a winning record, 3-2 coming out of this trip, that'll be fine.
Yeah.
I just have to say that I've been very pleased with how the Bulls have started the season, and I'm not a basketball expert per se. Like Kyle said before, I'm more of a football guy, but I've watched a good majority of their games this season, and they've been playing an exciting brand of basketball, and it's just good to see the growth that this team has gone through as the season has progressed. To your point last night, where you were talking about how competitive the Clippers were with the Bulls, and that's a game that at the beginning of the season, I like when we think back on how they played the Pistons and how the Pistons were able to get back into the game and make it close, or even with the Raptors earlier in the season, how they were able to bring it close and make you hold your breath and make your chest pound a little bit harder. Against the Clippers without Vooch, a team that just won 7 straight. They were able to, step on their necks a little bit. And you made the point about Zach, being emphatic with the crazy shot that he made at the end. So you see them being able to close out games a little bit better, and starting to develop that killer instinct. that it's going to take, to play competitive basketball. Golden State, that was the first game on the road trip. And Golden State is playing lights out right now. They're the best team in the NBA. What was it? They 11-1 or 12-1 now. Steph is playing out of his
They got
mind. You got
second
to deal
loss
with the jet
yesterday, Joe.
lag. Huh?
Yeah, they got a
What'd you say?
second loss yesterday, Joe, but they still got the best
Cool.
record in the league. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, you coming in from the Midwest, you got the jet lag. It is what it is. But they showed improve, and this is a team last year. That it's not the same team, but the Bulls team last year would have, started stacking losses. These would have built up, but they were able to come and bounce back and get a strong win against a good team, and that just shows how much this team has improved since last year.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think that's maybe the sharpest difference between this year's team and who was on the floor last year. Just in terms of the resiliency, they stayed in that game with New York and gave themselves an opportunity to win in the closing moments of that game. They came back against Boston, first team in the shot clock area to be down by 14 and then end up winning by 14 or more points. They came back against Philly in that first game. Looked like they might steal another game on the road. They beat Utah last night in LA to pull that game out. So I mean, this team just is not the type that's going to get hit in the mouth and stay down. Like they get back up and they come back with some more punches, which as a fan is great to see.
Drew, what did you think about the adjustment in the lineup yesterday and how it played out throughout the game, starting with having Caruso on at that 4 to start?
I loved it from the standpoint of, your big man is gone. Vucevic is out of that lineup. So you had to get somebody in there that knows what to do with the ball in their hands, not necessarily scoring it because that's not what Caruso is known for, but somebody that can make quick, decisive decisions with the ball, getting it, moving it along if you need to, or shooting without hesitation. And then also he's their best defender with Lonzo Ball a close second. So being able to get him on Paul George early and do what he can do to disrupt his rhythm and kind of knock him off stride for pretty much the whole game. I think he finished, 7 of 26 or something like that. So I loved it from that standpoint. Helped them try to get off to a little bit of a better start, which has been kind of an issue this season. They haven't always come out strong in those first quarters, but I think it made sense for them. And we'll see if it continues into tonight. I would expect it would. And I know that Caruso is probably looking to try to put up a big game against his former team.
Get myself off mute. That's another question I was going to ask right quick. But before I go into that, like, what lineup do you think? Do you think there'll be the same lineup tonight? Given that you got AD, of course, was going to be on the other side, a bit more of a dynamic front court player than what Hartstein or God, what's my other name there?
Bubac.
Yeah, and they got a little bit of depth too, with the older guys they got in that front court in LA. How do you think the Bulls gonna be able to offset that? Because we know the thinness up front, and it can lead to the Bulls getting out rebounded drastically at times and stuff like that, where it could I just what do you think the Bulls are going to be able to do to offset what the Lakers are going to have to offer tonight?
Man, that might be the story of the game. I don't think LeBron is set to play. I believe he's.
It's looking like he's going to be out still.
Yeah, so I'm not. Who's starting with Anthony Davis? Are they starting DeAndre Jordan?
Shoot, I haven't seen the Lakers play in the second.
Yeah, I'm not even, because I know they don't typically like Anthony Davis doesn't spend the majority of his minutes playing the 5. So I know
he likes
yeah. So
I would guess that Jordan probably does. Let me look at a box right quick from the recent game. And but yeah, like go ahead though.
Now I was gonna say that that could prove to be the storyline of this game, how they're gonna defend or how they're gonna rebound, and try to limit the points in the paint that the Lakers able to get, even with LeBron being out. Anthony Davis is a handful. I know, people have said what they want to say about AD coming off his bubble performance and what he did last year and one of the worst seasons of his career, but you still got to honor that dude. You still got to play him. You still got to all eyes or all hands got to be on deck when he catches the ball.
Oh yeah.
So I'm looking for maybe some creative double teams. But to your point, I didn't even think about that. You might be in a position where you can't even start Caruso because they're so big. You got some big bodies out there on the perimeter with DeRozan and Levine and Ball who rebound pretty well for their size, but you going against DeAndre Jordan and AD inside, you're gonna need a little extra.
Well, it looks like in the most recent win against the Spurs, they actually had Carmelo at the 4, Taylor Horton Tucker, and Davis. Davis actually at the 5 with Westbrook and Bradley in the backcourt. So I don't know if they'll keep to that. They didn't play Dwight. They didn't play Jordan in that Spurs game. Howard only played like 10 minutes, so they had a bit of a smaller lineup against the Spurs. Actually,
I think. I'm sorry.
No,
go ahead.
I think the that's been the biggest issue with the Bulls right now is the size that they have in the front court, but I think they have an opportunity to be creative with Vooch out and try to push the pace a little bit. The Lakers have like one of the oldest teams in the league, and I believe what it looks like from what I watch, the Bulls are a great running team. They do well on the fast break, and Lonzo is really good at making decisions when he's pushing the pace, and DeMar DeRozan and Caruso do that very well too. And so I think if they can push the pace a little bit and get out on these guys, they can tire them out a little bit and maybe pull it away late, once they got them gassed a little bit. So I think that's one of the things that I wanted them to do against the Sixers when they had all those players out. I think they were only 8 deep. I wanted them to push the pace a little bit more because, Embiid is always out of shape. If you push the pace a little bit, you might be able to tire these guys out. And so, I hope they come out and push the pace a little bit and try to run these guys out the gym.
That's a good point, Joe. Pace and energy could be a key key X factor for the Bulls. You look at like Caruso, like coming off the bench, you look at players like Caruso and players like Javonte Green and Io's been giving a lot of good stuff off the bench too, and Derrick Jones. Like all those players, they offer some length and some energetic defense. And some even in the case of like Green, some board energy. Like Green to get up on you, man. And you saw that nice block he had yesterday, Drew, with it blocked homeboy from the back. Like Javonte give you 1 or 2 plays every day, every game where you like, man, this dude is out of his mind. You almost
want him Javonte. I like Javonte. He played like he out in the park from the crib. I like how he plays.
Yeah. but I was about to say, Joe, you almost want him in the defensive backfield for the Bears. The way he had one play yesterday where he came out like Mike Brown or something, deflected a long pass up the court. Like that boy be playing. So he's definitely becoming a fan favorite quickly.
Yeah, that energy and athleticism is on another level, man.
Yeah. But right quick though, that this is the question I want to get to. You mentioned how the game is going to be important for AC. I guess because he was there more recently, he probably is the easy answer. But do you think it's going to matter more to him or to Lonzo tonight to have a good game?
That's a great question, but I think it would be. I'm gonna go with
But see,
Caruso.
now let me get my argument right quick for
Okay.
Lonzo.
Okay.
Because Lonzo, he left there more, ingloriously than AC did. They still wanted AC, like at least the fans did, and you could say the team did too. They just didn't want them at a certain price.
Yeah.
But they just booted. They just was sort of glad to get Ball out. When they got Magic out the paint in the front office, they was like, whoever Magic was down with, we ain't messing with them no more. So they got Ball out pretty easily. So I would think that Ball, after a couple years in the wilderness and now he's back on the team that he got him a nice looking girlfriend now. He could stud on his old. He could stud on the old neighborhood and say, "Look, I got me a competing team. I know y'all doing y'all thing here. Y'all think y'all competing, but I got a squad too with me, and I'm gonna come and show you what you guys are missing. Because really, I should be starting for you guys at point guard right now. I should be running the rock for you guys, but you're gonna miss out because I'm doing this for the Bulls."
Yeah, you make great points, great argument for Lonzo. And when you first posed the question, I was immediately going to Caruso. So I give you credit for having me think a little bit about Ball, but I still got
it definitely could be Caruso too,
yeah.
because Lonzo may just he may have put all that behind him. Like I said, it's been a couple years, but make the argument for Caruso.
Well, no, I think just I'm going Caruso just because like this dude made it so clear that he wanted to be with Los Angeles. He went and got some deals from other teams or the Bulls deal and came back to Los Angeles. Like, look, man, this is what they're offering. Can you do something similar? Not even exactly this amount, but something in the ballpark. And still said no. So I think he's got more of an axe to grind against the Lakers than Ball does. Like you said, a lot of it has to do with the timing. But I'm going Caruso on this one.
Yeah, I think you go either way, but Caruso definitely, like again, he's another guy who, like, just like what I just said with Lonzo, Caruso is like, you guys could be using me right now, instead of overpaying Westbrook or one of these other guards that you got. You could be paying me a decent amount, and we could be running it back like we did when we had the title. But they made the choice that they made. So I would like for both of them to play like they got a chip on their shoulder tonight, and that would definitely help the Bulls.
That would be awesome. If we can get Lonzo Ball going from inside and outside the arc, that would be terrific.
Right. There'll be no let up. You just substitute one for the other. Just keep going. Yeah. So it's gonna be fun. Like 9:30 our time. They're gonna be tipping off. So yeah, Bulls and Lakers. It's fun to have
9:30.
Yeah, you ain't gonna be able to stay up for that one.
Oh man, 9:30. I'm gonna try.
I feel you, man. I feel you, but yeah, that's how it is on the West Coast.
Let me ask y'all this: why was it because it was Sunday that the game was at 8:30 yesterday? Why the difference?
Probably because of Sunday. But yeah, I mean, it could have been even earlier than that, But yeah,
Getting too old, man.
You might have to move out there, man. I remember one time I went the one time I was in California. It was during baseball season, and they had like a game start at like 4:30. I was like, "What the hell?" Like it's so weird. It was a Giants game. I was like, "Why baseball?" But it's like, yeah, it's because they were on the East Coast, so they were starting on East Coast times. I was like, man, this is I don't know how they deal with it. Like, all the time they have to deal with stuff like that. Because when their teams play at 7:30 our time, they're playing at 5:30 their time. So it's weird to have games always tip off at that time.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's the Bull. That's the Bull. That's what's going on with the Bulls. We'll have some more NBA talk coming up tomorrow on Running with WARR, and we should have a special guest on Roland Lazenby. I had to bring him on sort of in response to Scottie Pippen and the tell-all stuff that's going on with him and Mike right now. And me and Drew texted about this a little earlier, Joe. Like, Scotty's out here in the book talking about that Mike ruined the game of basketball. Like he is really jumping out the window just to get some attention about his qualms with Mike, man. It's like you don't have no issue with Mike, man. I saw a video today on IG. Ninth Wonder, the great producer, actually posted it. It was a video of Mike after the fifth championship in '97. Giving like 2 minutes of him giving all sorts of props to Scotty, and saying like he don't get the respect he deserves, and he deserves everything as much as me. He deserves $30 million like me because he got that first $30 million contract that year, and and he still wound up making more money than Mike in his career on the books. But he was just giving all types of props to Scotty, and it's like, man, for things to go from that, our public representation and our public understanding of their relationship, for it to go from that to what it is today, is just such a sad thing, man. It don't make much sense to me.
Well, here's the thing. I hate that Scotty has chosen to go down this road with this tell-all book. And like I don't, people always bring up what he's made, like you said, he's made over $100 million in his NBA career. I don't know what his finances are right now. I do remember that Mr. Submarine commercial. That's my favorite commercial, but yeah, maybe he should start selling subs again instead of selling books. But
I'm saying he could buy the whole Mr. Submarine empire and just get it popping again, man.
Right. I don't know, but the thing about it is, I'm pretty sure, while he was playing, and during, when he was in his prime, that he really did believe that he was good as Michael Jordan. And I think in his mind that, those 6 championships are just as much his as they are Mike's, but Mike is the one that they call the GOAT. Michael even said that, he wouldn't have won those championships without Scotty, but yet it's still, Michael's still the GOAT. Now, I don't know, so I'm not in the man's head, I'm trying to empathize a little bit. You've seen the great things that Michael has been able to do with the Jordan brand. Now he has a tequila out in Coro. He owns a team.
Scotty got the league.
He got the bourbon. He got the bourbon.
But he's swerving off the bourbon, man.
Hey, I haven't. I'm a whiskey dude. I haven't tried it yet. So I'll wait till a few more people try it and say what they, see what they say about it. But I haven't tried it yet. But I don't know what it is. I think it's part of it is, I think he is a player who signed a bad contract and who didn't get paid what he was worth while he was here. The Last Dance really did not put him in a favorable light. Especially when they talked about the back surgery and the 1.8 seconds and all those things.
Joe, I don't think it was much about being a favorable. It just said what it was. And you could argue that
I understand.
You could argue that it aired more towards the myth making with Jordan. That's Jordan.
Yeah.
Like if your story is as Mike, that you lost your father in a horrible incident, and then you came back and you won a title on Father's Day a couple years later. That's the story for you. If that's the story for him, if your story is, well, I got ganked out of some money because I wanted to get as much as I can to support my father, well, that's your story. So
I see what you're saying. Why
you gotta hate Mike on that.
Listen, I'm just trying to empathize. I mean, I agree with you.
I know. I feel you.
I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm just playing devil's advocate. And I mean, as a person, and I don't agree. To me, no matter what, no matter what, I think that Scotty is going to is going to forever be a Bulls great. I just don't like that
Yeah,
he's burning
nothing's
his
gonna take that
bridges
away.
like this. And it seems kind of messy and jealous. That's what it seems like to
Yeah,
me.
I feel like we
yeah.
need the way that Shaq and the late Kobe Bryant had their sit down. I feel like Mike and Scotty, they need to have their own rendition of that. Or maybe Scotty does. I don't know if we need it or Mike needs it, but Scotty
Mike
needs
don't need it.
it.
Mike
Mike
don't
don't
need
need
it.
it, but Scotty
We
probably needs
we we could use it. Scotty, I think, definitely needs it, but
it.
Mike ain't trying to do that. He Mike just gonna sit there he gonna sit there with his cigar and his tequila and be like, "What you got to say?" And he just sit there,
But yeah,
and
I
Scotty
heard.
gonna just talk for an hour and say a
Yeah,
bunch of nothing.
yeah, I heard Jason Goff bring up a point that I hadn't heard anybody else bring up before, and that's that Scotty isn't talking to us. He isn't talking to, um, you know, anybody other than Michael Jordan. He's trying to get for whatever reason he wants that acceptance. He wants that warm, verbal hug, if you will, from the big brother. I guess that he, had grown to have during those Bulls years, which I thought it made sense. I never, like I said, I hadn't heard anybody bring that up. But to your point, Kyle, like there's been times when Jordan maybe not necessarily gone out of his way, but has uh, thrown roses at Scotty's feet and let people know how much that Scotty means to him in his career. I think he did it during his Hall of Fame acceptance speech as well. So I'm not sure, man. I know Scotty's got a lot going on in his life. He seems to be coming from a place of insecurity, and I don't really know why that is.
He how
But
bad
no,
he how
this
bad out here.
insecurities,
His
I
wife
think,
was
come from other issues in his life, and he's
right.
them
That's what it's
onto.
coming from.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, the
projecting them
Gucci
onto a
flip
guy who.
flops. You know,
Yeah,
he's out here looking bad. I mean,
Yeah,
for real. Um. So yeah,
yeah.
I see we got something in the chat.
We shout out to Johnny Blunt or Blunt. I don't know how you want to pronounce it, but he said that Scotty never got over Jordan not helping him renegotiate his bad contract. What the thing about that is that Jordan was in a bad contract as well, and Jordan. I mean, they both knew that when you sign on paper with Reinsdorf that he wasn't renegotiating anything until the end of the contract. Jordan knew that. So that's why Jordan didn't do nothing until 96 when he was about to become a free agent. And the talk then was that, well, he might go to New York. So when that rumor, regardless of how true that rumor might have been, how based in reality that rumor might have been, Reinsdorf knew that he couldn't let the gravy train go off the station that soon. So he ran that 30 million to Mike, and he got that for the last 2 years of his play with the Bulls. He got 30 million each year, and he got it. But when it came to Scotty reing up in '98, he had to sit out and do all that acting up that he did, which again was portrayed as it was on The Last Dance. I guess Scotty just thought that they didn't maybe need to bring that up at all, but they brought it up, and that's what happened because that's what happened. And he had to deal with what he had to deal with, and eventually he got broke off by Houston. When that season ended, when The Last Dance ended here in Chicago, Houston gave him his money,
Houston gave
we
him his
saw that
money. Then
what that got him. He don't
and
even
then he
want to
went to
talk about
Portland.
Houston now. Yeah, he went to Portland. He
And
talks
then
fine
after he
about
went to
Portland, but
Portland,
he don't even want to acknowledge the Houston year.
yeah,
But that's
then
where he
he
got
went
his
to
money.
Portland. Then he went to Portland, and then he came back. And I think they gave him a pretty decent contract when he came back. In fact, Paxson wanted to buy him out, and he was like, "Nah, man, I'm getting all this." So, I mean,
Yeah, well, he was
you
basically
know,
in the rocket shed in, so that was like, and
right?
the Bulls ain't had
Bad
shit
back
else.
pipping.
Yeah. And the Bulls ain't had shit else then. They was done. Then. So it was like, we need Scotty to get some fans back in the season. But
man.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I said, it's tough, man. I it would be nice, like you say, Drew, if there was some sort of reconciliation there. But if it does happen, I don't think it'll be very public. Maybe it'll be something that happens behind closed doors. But Scotty, I think because a lot of what he says has been so inflammatory, I think in a way, I agree with what you say that he wants that hug, but I think it's sort of a thing. It's like he wants that attention first, and he wants that conflict where he's that platform where he could let everything out. And I think maybe he thinks there's something that Mike can say to him in response that could lead to that moment where they have where they hug it out. But like I say, from what I've observed Mike to be over the 30 so odd years that I've observed him, I don't think that Mike's going to give him that opportunity and give him that whatever he wants.
Yeah, Scotty just so messy, man.
Like I said, I just hope the book sales are worth it. That's all I in the end I could say,
Yeah,
but,
like I told you in the text we exchanged. Once I saw him say something to the effect of Jordan ruined the game, I already was like, I'm not reading this book. But when I saw that, it just cemented it for me. Like, I have no interest in reading this book right now at all.
You can't. Why would you read a book of craziness like that? Like Mike ruined the game. How, bro?
Like you're the only one, man. Read the room, brother. Like you're the only one.
You can say what I mean. There's so many different things you can say that. I just you lose all credibility when you say some stuff like that, man. So yeah. People gonna read it. Look, Josh reading it. I guess he showed the book last week. So I'm gonna see how much he read tomorrow when we get together. How much of that book he's read. But that's what it is. But let's move on, man. Let's talk about the Bears right quick. I got some NFL things I want to bring up in general, but Joe, we got the bye week, of course, this week, a good week for the Bears where they don't get to lose. As they don't get to win, but they don't get to lose. So that's sort of a victory week. It's sort of like what the Lions did this week in time. The time Pittsburgh, but what? First off, I guess you're gonna probably be seeing your first game in person this week, right? With the Ravens.
Talking to me?
Still planning?
Oh yeah, I'm going to the game. Thanks. I'm going to the game, but no, I did get a chance to go to Las Vegas and watch the Bears in Las Vegas, and that was a phenomenal game.
Yeah, you did see that game.
Yeah, I did get a chance to go to Las Vegas and watch the Bears in Allegiant Stadium. And
look, the Bears, that's the last win, right? They've lost ever since then.
Yeah,
So I mean, let's start
a good luck charm.
Yeah, and there you go. Maybe they'll break the losing streak this week. But I mean, first, why do you think they've had this streak? And I mean, there's a couple of obvious reasons why. But why do you think they've had this streak? And do you think this is something they could get? Look, the talk already coming into this week is that there still may be a chance they could make the playoffs because the NFC.
I mean, it happened last year.
Yeah, I know. And it sucks because I've been saying all year they're not going to back into the playoffs. But again, the NFC is going to be the NFC, and they have too many teams in the middle. There's some very good teams at the top, but there's too many damn teams in the middle. And all of a sudden now you got the Panthers who are in that 7th spot, and they're only like a game and a half ahead of the Bears, and now the Bears are going to be having this silly wish fulfillment now that they can back into the playoffs again. But I don't know, man. What are your thoughts on what's going on?
Well, here's the thing. I think if the Bears make the playoffs, I mean, it'd be great. But I think the focus has to be the development of Justin Fields. That should be the primary focus.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, if you're Coach Matt Nagy, if you want to, save your job, you have to do things that help develop Justin Fields. Now, I tend to believe that he's going to be going regardless of how well Justin Fields progresses, because it is my belief from what I observe is that Justin Fields is just who he is. He's getting, comfortable with the speed of the game. He's learning how to read the defenses, and he's just making it happen on his own, because he's his own force of nature. All right, and that's how I view Justin Fields as a quarterback. All right, it's a lot. I know it kind of sounds like hyperbole, but we saw the 4th and 1 and what he was able to do with that. We saw how he brought the team back against the Steelers, only to get jobbed by the refs. So we seen this in increments, and it's starting to come together. And so I think that he's taking it upon himself to meet with the receivers and the tight ends during the bye week. He went down to Florida and got up with Brandon Marshall at the House of Athlete, and to do those things. So I think this is a player that's doing the things necessary to be great. He wants to be great, and he's doing those things. And he might be one of those players on the team that is Nagy proof, so to speak. So I think that's what's happening. Them making the playoffs, I mean, that's a far stretch, but if Justin Fields could come out and play down the stretch like he did against the Steelers earlier on in the game, and building upon that, and having the offense start a little bit quicker where you don't have to come back, they'll be in a lot of games, and have a chance to win. But I'm not sure if playoffs is one of them. It's something we should be going for.
I was hoping, actually, this. I feel like the bye came at the wrong time because the team, the offense was starting to click. As you said, Justin Fields is starting to get his footing under him and look more comfortable under center, and kind of reacting rather than thinking so much. So it feel like the bye came at a bad time for the offense, man. In that regard.
It did. You could definitely say that. I think it's a mixed thing. Like you got, that encouraging developments that you saw from the Pittsburgh game on one side, but on the other side, you do have injuries that have lingered on the team. So you got some extra rest for some, especially on the defensive side. You get to see players like Tevin Jenkins is back in on the fold on practice. He was practicing today, so that's some more developments there. Borum, got to play in the Pittsburgh game, so he gets more time to rest and work himself in the practices as well. So he may be even a little better coming into this upcoming game. So if the Bears can maintain that, if they could build up their strengths again on those lines, I think that's going to be very key, especially in this game coming up with Baltimore.
I mean, the NFL is a funny league. We just watched the Washington Redskins. Oh, sorry, Washington football team.
You're in Washington, man. No slurs here, man.
The Washington football team. I apologize, everybody. Yeah. The Washington football team. All right, it's going to take a while to get used to that still. But we just watched the Washington football team beat Tampa Bay over the weekend. And we just had some crazy wonky games where, teams that you don't expect to win. And, I mean, the Bears.
It seems like it's like that. That's part of what I want to get into, Joe. Like, it seems like every week, like, what you can't tell who's who in this league. Like, one week a good team will be the somewhat good team will be good. Then the next week they'll do some off the wall stuff, like lose to the Washington football team. And it's like there's so many teams that's regressing to the mean. I still think there are a few teams that are clearly better than others. Like you look at, Green Bay right now is playing out of their mind on defense, and they still have, Rodgers, regardless of what horse flu medicine he's taking to bat down the COVID. He's still, when he goes out there, he's a bigger threat at quarterback as anybody else. The Rams are still pretty tough. They lost Woods, but they brought in OBJ. They don't seem to care about any type of salary cap right now. They're gonna bring in whoever they need to bring in to improve that team. And the AFC actually looks a little bit so, but at the same time, the Chiefs last night showed again how explosive they can be when they're hitting on all cylinders. So I mean, yeah, there's some teams that we definitely can look at as contenders, but it's like from week to week, you just don't you have it's such a dice roll as to who is going to do what in each game. It's like it's crazy.
Right, right. And so I mean, you can look and go ahead and look at the schedule and say, yeah, the Bears, should lose those games, but there's really, no way of really knowing. I guess,
Sure.
that's why you still got to lace them up and play. But the like I said before, the most important thing is the development of Justin Fields and him getting better. And if him getting better actually leads the Bears to the playoffs, then that's what it is.
Yeah, it's rough, man, because I try to be I try to be the objective journalist guy, but of course I'm a
Objective, yeah.
Bears fan. But I'm a Bears fan too. I'm not going to hide that, and so I'm just like, well, it doesn't really matter what but it's like at the same time, there's a feeling that like if they don't reach some sort of bottom, you're not going to get the changes that you want from this team if they don't. If every time they can mess up, like every year, the past 2 years, Nagy has had extended losing streaks in each year. I think he has 6-game losing streaks in each of the past 2 years. He's got a 4-game losing streak now. That's not what winning teams do. So for him to be able to have another losing streak in the middle of a season and to show his inability to get this team to score 20 points with regularity, it's like if all that is done and is betrayed and the end result is a 9-8 season that just barely gets them in the playoffs again, and if that's enough to satisfy the McCaskies, it's like
But here's the thing.
It's like a Twilight Zone loop.
Here's
man.
the thing, though. Here's the thing. There's precedence. You know what I'm saying? Lovie Smith got fired after a 10-6 season. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So even if the Bears, say, end up with a winning record and make the playoffs, at the end of the day, good coaches don't allow their teams to lose 4 or 6 games in a row. It doesn't happen. All right. Good coaches don't allow their players to come out every single week and get hit with a taunting penalty or unnecessary roughness or some goofy stuff like that. Good coaches don't allow that. You know what I'm saying? And that's been one of the issues with me about this team is that discipline. I mean, why constantly will you line up off sides over and over again in a close game? All righty. That's discipline. That's a coach telling you, hey, move back. Don't do that again.
Simple as that. Just move back, like a couple feet. Move back.
You can't. There's nobody on the sideline to tell him that.
I mean, I think Robert Quinn got a couple of those too. So I mean, it's some of these vets, man. It's unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Ridiculous. Just stay back and watch when the ball moves. Don't move until the ball moves. It's just that. I mean, come on, man.
Don't shoot yourself in the foot. We got plenty working against the team as it is. We don't need any more, or they don't need any more.
Right. And so, and that's the thing. I kind of feel like, the discipline, the multiple seasons with long losing streaks, and even though you make it to the playoffs, you're just backing in, and I used to be able to believe that, saying that, he was a good coach because he was able to get the players to buy in and they don't quit.
Yeah.
But
Joe,
stuff that he allows.
See, Joe, I think that is a good quality. He has good qualities of a coach. A good coach. He has
good qualities.
But I just think he didn't go to coaching finishing school.
Right.
Right. I just think he needed to go to finishing school as a coach and get all those qualities developed in him. Like and basically that would have been like a couple more years as a coordinator. Like he barely ran the offense by the time when he was in KC, by the time that the Bears picked him up. They were encouraged off of like a couple months of him, sort of running the offense in KC when they made the playoffs with Alex Smith, and it's like that's Bears. That's typical Bears stuff. Mom and pop Bears operating, but it leads to stuff like this where you sort of make an advancement, but in the end, you just 2 or 3 years out from another rebuild because you didn't do the knowledge like you should have done and get a guy who was really ready for the job. You just got someone who you fell in love with and you thought was palpable to the Bears nation or whatever, the media here in Chicago. And for 1 year, he was great for that for 2018. But there's been no evolution since then. And now his job is on the line again. And like you say, Joe, because of the rest of the league, he may be able to back in again and do just enough to keep his job and just enough to satisfy the majority of Bears fans, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I gotta believe that the McCaskies, Virginia, George, Tom, whoever, Ted Phillips, whoever's up there, has seen enough of Matt Nagy and the prolonged losing streaks. And I this is someone who was adamant about not playing, very adamant about not playing Justin Fields at the beginning of the season. And as you can see, he didn't get any first, as we know, he didn't get any first team reps during training camp and in the preseason. And when it was finally time for him to play, he was behind, and they didn't do him any favors against that first game against Cleveland. The game plan was not the way it was supposed to be. And what you see is a very hard-headed, stubborn coach. And I always feel like good coaches are not married to just one system or to their system. They do what's necessary to win. And that's what good coaches always have success. They're able to adapt to their personnel. All right. Yeah. It's not the other way around, because you got contracts and salary caps and things you got to keep in mind. You have to be able to adapt to your personnel and put your personnel in the best position to win. And that's something that he hasn't been able to do as an offensive guru, but he hasn't been able to do it.
You're right, man. You're right.
In the times that they've had success, it was somebody else calling the plays.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You got
hey.
We had to get Bill Lazor back in the play calling business this year to have any sort of encouragement. And hopefully that's what they're still doing. I'm worried that with a bye, that's one of those times where Nagy he'll turn the tables on us and be like, "I'm back."
just can't help himself, man.
Yeah,
just can't help himself, man.
We'll see how they do.
We'll know if he has that big laminated sheet. We'll know what happens. He'll tell on himself. He got that big old laminated sheet.
He got the big Golden Corral menu on the side.
Right. Now if he got one of those, we know what's going on.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes, man. Me and Joe should be there this Sunday. Baltimore. It'll be interesting to see Baltimore too, coming off of that horrible performance they had against Miami. I think they're gonna want to play and put some points on the board. And will the Bears be able to contain them much like Miami did, or will they get in the mix of a possible shootout? How will Lamar Jackson be in person? That'll be pretty interesting. So it's gonna be an interesting game.
It's gonna be an interesting thing. And Miami did some things that I'm not quite sure that the Bears are able to do. They did a lot of blitzing, and then our secondary is very thin. And
they got a much better secondary than the Bears, so they could do a lot of one-on-one matches
in order to blitz like they did. And so I'm not sure if that's something Sean Desai and this Bears defense can replicate. So we'll see.
Yeah. What was right quick? What was the wildest result from you in the NFL this week? Because there were quite a few.
Oh man. Honestly, I thought Atlanta would play a little bit better than they did.
Oh man.
Yeah, I did. I really did. I see.
I mean,
I know.
does that make? How does that make you feel about Dallas? Do you? Because like, you know, the Dallas, like,
You know
of
what?
course, Dallas gets so much attention, and then every week you get the wild Stephen A. Opinion on them, and you try. I try not to let that
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
filter
I
into my
mean,
head, but it's like,
his I think Dallas is legit. They got a
yeah,
decent defense. That secondary, they make a lot of plays. They turn the ball over, you know, and they doing it. Dak is playing out of his mind. They're doing the things necessary to win. They got a little two-headed monster with Elliott and Pollard with the running back. So they're
yeah, they
playing
got a lot
a
of
good
talent
brand of
on that
football right
offense.
now. They're playing a good, and so I think. Uh, they do play in the East, NFC East, which is probably the weakest division in the NFC right now. So they'll make it. They'll have to show improve in the playoffs. Another one that was a shocker to me was the Panthers and the Cardinals. And Cam with his "I'm back," you know,
Mhm.
uh, you
Shaking them
know,
dreads, and he was
right?
feeling himself.
That was a surprising performance with PJ Walker out of Temple as the quarterback. Them being able to go up there, go to Arizona and do that was a shocker.
Joe, what
And
about
when
the
things
Patriots?
who did Patriots beat up on again? I know they beat up on the
Cleveland.
Browns. That's what they did.
Cleveland,
They beat
yeah.
up on the Browns. Yeah, so like we were talking about, these things happen in the NFL. Like, you don't know from week to week. The Browns, when they played us, they were looking like they couldn't be stopped. Myles Garrett and
Hmm.
David Clowney was eating quarterbacks. Now they can't even touch them. So
And the thing about
so
the thing about New England, in that division, it looked like Buffalo was going to run away with it, but they fallen back to earth. So, like,
right.
I think they're like 6-3, and New England is 6-4. So that division is back up in the air again, and it looks like New England could possibly take it again this year, even though they had every reason not to take it at the beginning of the season. Jones is doing his thing. I brought up this tweet that I saw of the rookie quarterbacks, this heralded rookie class. He's the only one, including Justin Fields, who's had a 100%, 100+ quarterback rating this season. He's had 5 games where he's had 100+ rating, according to the NFL on
Who are his
CBS.
coaches?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely,
Who are his coaches?
yeah. So that's what I
I
was getting.
mean, these
That's what I was
are
getting
these the
into.
same
That's what I was getting
coaches?
into. Like,
Who are these? Are these the same
is it a
coaches that
matter
won
of him
11
just
games with
being
Matt Castle?
in the right environment?
These the same coaches that won 11 games with Matt Castle.
Got Matt
I'm
Castle
just saying.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
paid.
We can't overlook that at all. I mean, so to that degree, you still you think you saying that you don't necessarily believe in Mac Jones, or are you just saying
Well,
that?
here's the thing. I think with the Patriots, they're doing things that he can do, and they're not asking him to play above his skill set right now. They're not asking him to just go out there and diagnose and be Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. They're keeping things
Right.
simple. All right. They're keeping things simple. Throws, quick, easy throws. Stuff that, can get his rhythm going. And that's how they've been doing it. All righty. And they relied on the run game to a certain extent to kind of keep teams, off balance. And they do a good job of mixing in plays. And you got Josh McDaniels, who's a real. I would consider him an offensive guru. All right, Josh McDaniels. You know what I'm saying?
Opposite of
And
Nagy,
he's been proven. He's been proven.
even though he failed in his first head coach in the
He did. And here's the
division.
thing: he did fail. He did fail. But I do think that you know being able to run an offense and do it to a certain extent, he's learning from the best and learning how to, cross those T's and dot those I's, with Bill Belichick and paying that attention to detail and having his players be disciplined and being able to execute. All right. Being able to identify things that your team does well and executing those things that they do well day in and day out. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get to,
Yeah,
being able to do those things, what's your bread and butter? All right. Get to that, do those well, and build off of that. All righty. And that's something that the Bears haven't been able to do, under this Nagy regime. We we figured out by accident that hey, that they might be a pretty good running team. All right. By accident. You know what I'm saying? So, there's just things like that.
yeah, it makes a difference, man. It makes a difference. Like that's that level of coaching that we still are looking for here in Chicago, and it seemed like all we, for so many years, all we was looking for was a quarterback, but we looking for that coach too. we need that. We need that right coach again. We got the quarterback, I think, but we need that coach. We need that coach and quarterback. That's how you. That's how you win in the NFL. And so we'll see how that process goes, continuing on for the Bears. But we clocking in an hour now, man. I ain't gonna use up too much more time. But appreciate you guys. Another fun show here.
Let
Appreciate
me just,
everybody who watched and commented. Johnny Blunt, whatever.
one game y'all didn't mention that I just want to speak about.
What's up, you?
Green Bay shutting out the Seahawks, man.
Well, yeah.
For no other reason than the 4.3 points that Tyler Lockett got me when I lost by 0.66 in my fantasy matchup this week.
Oh,
Good God.
Yeah, man. That's rough, man. Look, Seattle, man, they've lost. I think they've lost quite a few people some fantasy stuff on fantasy this year because you got Wilson missing the time that he missed. He just comes back this week, and he's still not really at a good place. And that trickles down to everybody else. You say Lockett, DK Metcalf, they run. They really ain't got nothing going up there, man. And they get shut out by Green Bay.
I don't know if it was cold, but Russell Wilson, or maybe he was rusty, but he looked really slow on Sunday. He just looked really slow.
Yeah.
Somebody else said that too, man. I don't know if you tweeted that. Somebody tweeted that. It might have been you. Somebody tweeted it. It was like, man, did he turn into John Elway overnight?
He wished he was John Elway. Man. But he go. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some more rumblings of him wanting to get up out of this coming off season. But I was thinking for a second too, like those couple weeks where we was all excited that he might come here, but like he wouldn't. Cool. That'd have just been a lateral move for him, I guess. But I don't know. Maybe the Bears might have if he was here. Maybe I don't know if they would have pulled out one more win or maybe two, but I don't know. The both teams are 3-6 as things are played out. So it looks like it had just been a lateral move for him if he would have got here, and it probably would have been a lateral move for us too, because we would have had old John Elway and not young Justin Fields. So I don't know, but But yeah, like I said, Green Bay is playing though. They got a defense again, and they don't even have two of their stars, Darius Smith and God, what's the other one who's out? Jair Alexander. They both ain't even on team right now, and they've had like the best defense in the league for the last couple of weeks. They shut down Kansas City, and which was more of a feat, but than what they did yesterday, but still shutting out anybody in the NFL is a big thing. So yeah, I mean they look tough, man. What you can say?
Yeah, we got to see how long Aaron Jones is going to be. I think they said a sprained MCL possibly, but Dylan is this dude is like the new age Jerome Bettis, man. I wouldn't hate to have to tackle this dude.
Yeah. And tied it back to the Bulls. The Bulls' opponents today. AD is a known Packers fan.
Oh yeah.
He gonna say yesterday that they wanted to get the game over early so he could see the Packers in before that just disappoints me so much, man.
Hey, what
I
can
don't
you
know
say?
what I met his dad too, man. His family, they seem to have their heads on straight. But how you let that young man grow up to be a Packers fan? That's what I
Hey,
want to know.
he grew up winning for winners.
Man, I was gonna say maybe we in the wrong, man. I don't know.
But look, y'all know there are enough front runners in Chicago. There are plenty of front runners in Chicago, as is. So I'm not going to be necessarily one of those folks who just roots for someone because they winning. I got more character than that, man.
Mm-hmm.
You can call me dumb if you want, but I got more character than that. Anyway,
Nah,
hey,
yeah.
two more. And speaking of that, two more things before we go. I'm actually gonna shout out the Hawks. I put them on the title. They won 3 straight. They actually get a bye this week. If and according to the Chicago Sports Exchange, they won 3 games in a row. They the franchise still got a lot of issues, but for the time being, they've attended to their needs on the ice, and they're starting to play better now. So maybe they'll back into the playoffs as well. There's still a lot. There's still a lot of hockey left to play for them. So I actually shout them out. They won, like I say, they won 3 in a row, and they getting past the worst start in
They
NHL
just need to
history.
go ahead and pay those people. Quit arguing. Pay them people.
Yeah, they need to run that money to the victims of their
Run
oversight
that money.
and make that, and then we'll really be buying actions. Like I said, but that's off the ice. But on the ice, they've gained some sort of dignity in the past week. So shout out to them on that. But that's all I'll
Run
give
them
them for
people
now.
their money. That's all I gotta say.
You're right, Joe. You're right. And I'm gonna shout out the Red Stars, the women's soccer team. They made it to the championship game in their league, the National Women's Soccer League. So a shout out to them, and they may be bringing home another title. So again,
Yeah, they beat the
go ahead,
number
Drew.
they beat the number 1 seed Portland Thorns, who beat them 5-0 in the first match of the season. So for them to come kind of full circle and knock them off,
Yeah,
so that's pretty sweet. And they
there you
had some
go.
injuries too to some key players, so that's a big win for them.
And they got the best jersey in the city.
Yeah,
Speak on
there you go, Joe. That's a
That
good
Red
look.
Stars jersey hit hard.
Yeah,
yeah.
there you go. That's what's up. So yeah, we talk about gear, man. Look, the women's team's coming hard. Like I say, the Red Stars, the Sky got their Chi-Town alternative joint.
Yeah.
That's like I said, I'm gonna be rocking that next summer, man.
They just got
Shot.
sales, man. They got to meet the demand.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, the WNBA, man. Come on, you gotta get better on that, man. You got start printing them jerseys out, man. You're gonna make some money. You're missing out on some money, man.
Yeah, if you want to be taken seriously as a league, which we all believe they should be, there's some things you got to do to make sure of that, to help yourself. Like that,
Right.
Some of the things that was going on with the telecast, and I think it was I can't remember who it was that was playing. They weren't playing in their home arena because of some scheduling conflicts. Like certain things, man.
I think Phoenix. I think that was Phoenix.
Yeah, we got to clean that up. You got to, man.
I say you got to appeal to the front runners in Chicago. Give them something fly to wear to match their shoes when they going out, on the block next summer. You will see a bunch of Sky clothes next summer, man. If you just you got to give the people you got to at least put some out to the bootleggers, man. Let the bootleggers be out there. When I come off the train, on the Garfield station. Let me be able to pick out a little bootleg Sky hat, or a little Sky shirt, It'd be like it's SKII Sky. Let me get a little something, just so I can wear on the block,
Absolutely.
So and represent my city, my team, So, but that's it. That's it, for now. That's our marketing tips for the week. That's all. It's all. It'll be another segment. Sports marketing 101.
And one of these days, I swear I'm not trying to hold this up any longer. One of these days, we gotta have a conversation or a poll about which team has the best jersey, because that black Southside White Sox jersey goes nuts. So I don't know, man.
I'm willing to have that
The Sid Connect.
conversation.
The Bulls with the pinstripes. So there's some good conversations. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, we should do like a, because you talk about a lot of the third jerseys or the alternate jerseys. Like, do you want to poll like what's the dopest jersey overall, or which team has the best sets of jerseys?
Man, we probably do both.
Yeah.
Probably do both. That's. I think both of them you might get some different answers, different responses. So
We got to think about that. In the meanwhile, San Francisco's already up 14-0 on again, these random ass scores. The Rams supposed to be the better team, and they losing already 13, about to be 14-0 to San Francisco, who was 3-5 coming to the game. The NFL is drunk. Really. The NFL is drunk, and it needs to go home. Okay.
Yeah, I saw the Rams first play of the game. They hit Beckham for a little out, but after that, I don't know what happened.
And how sad is OBJ gonna be if he goes to another team that does nothing but lose when he gets on the roster? Like, he gonna have to start thinking it's him, and I think he's a little bit too sensitive for that sort of inward thinking. So I don't know. I don't wish that upon him. But anyway, we gonna send it out on that. Give you something to think about for next week, and hopefully OBJ won't have to do too much self-evaluation over the next week. I hope you can avoid some of that as well out there, viewers and listeners. Hope you can enjoy your week. Like I said, it's getting more wintry out there, so bundle up. Don't go coughing and sneezing in people's faces, and get your shots whenever you need them. Yeah, wear a mask. If you're gonna be coughing and sneezing, wear a mask. And just enjoy your week, man. Hope you enjoy these games and everything that's going on. We'll check up with y'all again next week, and definitely check up with what's going on with the Bears. Like I said, me and Joe should be in the building at Soldier Field this coming Sunday. And in the meantime, like I say, Drew doing his thing as well. You got the tags right there. Follow these guys on social media and enjoy their conversations as you did tonight. Follow me at Means Matters on Twitter, and follow me at Kmean on IG if you dare. And yes, follow me if you dare. Survive if I let you. Little old Taz. That's a little wrestling line there. But that's it, y'all. Yeah, I'm gonna give him a promo. If you follow me, I'll give you a promo there. Give you old ECW promo. But that's it though, man. Like I said, enjoy y'all week. We'll be out. Well, like I said, we'll see you next week. And that's it. Peace out.
Peace out.